Hello everyone, welcome to City Skylines Springwood City Unmodded Gameplay Episode 6. In the previous episode, we developed this new neighborhood for residential, this new neighborhood for industrial, and this set of expansion for our high-density commercial in this part of the city. Now, today's episode is more focused towards increasing our population and making sure that we are using the space provided to us in the most optimal way. I believe at this point we have close to 8,000 people in our city. The next milestone is at 11,000. And we can use this high-density residential zone that we unlocked in the previous episode to be able to reach to that point. And to be able to do that, I am going to convert some of my low-density homes into high-density buildings and see kind of how it goes before we can actually make a decision to buy a new piece of land and start building on that. Secondly, the other problem that we might have in this episode is this set of roundabouts, and that would be really problematic in terms of the traffic backup happening on that road. I mean, it is quite intense even right now. So this is certainly something that I expect to do in this episode. Now, one of the ideas I have would be to move this roundabout a little bit farther like that, but that probably still wouldn't solve the problem of all this traffic kind of clubbing into a single point at this roundabout. But we'll see, we'll figure it out later on. For now, I think we have some worker issue going on in our new industrial zone, and we have this problem of decreasing population as well. So it seems like obviously increasing the residential zone would fix this problem. At the same time, I just want to make sure that new residents would have an easy access to our new areas. And for that, I will be adding some pathways just to make sure that this new industrial zone is quite a bit walkable than what it is right now. Alright, so I think with this, the industrial zone itself is very well connected, but we probably need to add some more connections between different parts of the city. So for example, we could add a pathway connection from the commercial zone, or maybe we can make this into a tunnel. I think that will be easier. So yeah, let's just add a tunnel and let's connect this with our commercial. Oh, not like this. So this will hopefully help people from different parts of the city to get to the industrial zone, even from the residential zones that we've created. And yeah, let's just connect this back to this part of the city, if I can probably do this right. And yeah, maybe let's make a curve around this like so. I think that is looking pretty good. So yeah, the next step would be just to make more pathways, and I'll probably do that all around the industrial zone just so that there is a good level of connectivity all around in the neighborhood. Alright, so now that this is out of the way, let's focus our attention to the subject of this video. So for that, I am just going to pick some homes and start converting them into high density buildings. Like for example, this one. This might be a good location for a taller building. Oh, there are those buildings that are getting updated or upgraded rather. That's okay. That's good to know. The only problem is we need to figure out where we can start updating some of these buildings. And yeah, I'm just randomly picking at this point and just trying to see what that looks like. I don't think this is getting converted. We probably need to demolish that. Oh yeah, look at those people getting out of the homes, getting evicted. And now, yeah, now there is this new building, which is a high density building. Perfect. That, like, I don't know why I'm taking such a pleasure at doing this. It's not a nice thing to do, but oh well, it's a game. So I think we're good as long as those AI NPCs don't start developing feelings. But anyway, let's focus on what we are here for. So we probably need some more space. I'm thinking I can probably add a road in this part of the city. So for that, I am probably going to, or you know what, actually, yeah, let's maybe make a road from here. Let's destroy that building since we are at this streak of destroying things. And let's probably, oh, I don't think, yeah, let's make it this way. Yeah, let's destroy this once again. I don't know why I made that road in the first place. So I just want that one block of gap in between. And yeah, I think this is probably good. So the reason why we are doing this entire exercise is so that we can have a little bit more space in this specific part of the city. I know I mentioned earlier that I wouldn't want to zone anything in this part, but I changed my mind. I think it might be useful if we can have some more buildings at this point in this area. But yeah, I think this is looking pretty good. This curved road is nice. Let's just remove all these small homes. We don't really need them. And let's just zone our high density building in this part. And oh, I think we have a power line here. That would be a problem. Okay, let's probably see. Maybe you can remove this. I think, oh no, that would be a problem for this part of the map. So I think we can probably connect the power line back from here and connect it to here. Yeah, I think that's good. So this gives us some clear space in this new part of the city to zone our buildings. So yeah, I'm just going to zone some more buildings here, and probably let's just do this a little bit. I don't want to zone that entire stretch into taller buildings, so I can probably zone low density ones in here, and then maybe mix and match both of them a little bit like that. And yeah, I'm probably just going to use my previous strategy with pathways to clean this up a little bit, and I'll see you guys in just a second. Alright guys, so we have cleaned up this area with this pathway. It looks pretty good, but we have this clear stretch, so I'll just leave that aside for now. And let's just focus on some of our existing buildings to convert them into high density buildings. And for that, I am going to space out these taller buildings a little bit farther away from each other, just so that it looks a little bit more spaced out and more even. It might not be as nice to have taller buildings all close to each other in a really congested layout, so I'm just keeping this a little bit cleaner, at least for now. Once again, this might change in the future, you never know, but for now we'll keep it as is. And on top of that, one more thing I want to mention is that I'll keep the homes near the waterfront as is into low density buildings, just because I want to have that sense of big wealthy homes near the waterfront. Once again, this may not be the best idea in terms of city planning, but that's what happens in real life, and that's what we are replicating over here. Okay guys, so now we seem to have a new issue with our high density commercial, which is they need enough educated workers, and these are highly educated workers. So for that, we pretty much need to build a university. Now, I don't know if this makes sense to make a university at like 8,000 people, but in terms of education, we have 2,000 people eligible for university, so it might as well make sense to make one. So I'm just going to check it out for now. And we obviously don't have the right kind of space to put it, so we'll need to think about that. We'll need to see where we can find enough space to put it. But yeah, that's something that we should definitely start thinking about right away. So in terms of the university building, we got this, obviously, we have that basic university building. But along with that, I wonder if we can actually build a university campus, which is right here. Yeah, it unlocks at 36,000 population, so we don't really have access to it right now, which means that we'll need to use this university building anyway. So that means that I am essentially going to use that anyway. We can start definitely thinking about more educated workers, and for that we'll need this university. So for that, I think this might be the best spot considering the given situation right now. Especially considering that this might be easy for all our sims to access. All the residential neighborhoods essentially will be able to access that road, and I don't really know why this is not getting built up over here. Oh, okay, that's weird. I want to put it here. I think there is that power line. Yeah, there we go. So I think, yeah, we are good now, and this is perfect. This will certainly change in the future, but for now we are keeping it as is. Maybe in the future we might think about a university campus area, but this definitely serves our demand right now. Anyway, going back to our buildings right now over here, I think this one is a high density building. Yes, it is. That looks good. I think there's a high density building here as well. That looks good as well. And I think at this point, we'll probably need a lot more high density residential. So for that, I was thinking that maybe this arch or this stretch of road might be a good idea to have buildings like this side by side. I know I mentioned earlier that I don't want too many high density buildings side by side, but this might be a good option nonetheless. And that's because it will give a good line of buildings next to this main avenue that is overlooking the lake, and that might give some good views for our sims. Not that it will affect the way we play the game, but it will just look good, and it will be a good idea to have these. For now, they are just low density, kind of like mid-rises, but as we upgrade this street and that neighborhood, it will become higher, and that would be more interesting to see. The other thing that this will help us with would be to increase our population. Our next milestone is at 11,000, yes, and these buildings will certainly help us get there really quickly. So yeah, this is a good idea to go forward with, and we have some traffic issues happening. I think, yeah, we'll probably need to think about that. So I think, yeah, in terms of the buildings, we are good here. Let's probably see what the fuss is all about in terms of traffic in these two roundabouts. We have a lot of people stopping there, which is not good. So one of the things I was thinking of was maybe get rid of this whole idea of solving everything with roundabouts and instead think about how people can exit and enter the city. So for this specific part of the city, I was thinking of making a connection between these highways, which we obviously cannot do right now considering we don't have that tile unlocked. But in the future, we can definitely think about that. I think for now, we can probably stay with this idea of roundabouts. And I think one of the things I mentioned in the previous episode was to move one of those roundabouts a little bit inside, maybe somewhere here. And for that, obviously, we'll need to get rid of a bunch of these things. And I'm going to cheat here a little bit and remove some of those landscaping props as well. And we can probably think about adding them once again once we are built with this road. So we can certainly do that with this, and we can add some of these rock formations and see what that looks like. But yeah, something like this would be nice up top, a little bit like that. But for now, let's just think about the road and the roundabout itself. Alright, so for this, I'm going to make this into a time lapse and show you guys my thought process behind this. So to make this into a roundabout, I am going to take guidelines from surrounding roads and other elements like I'm doing right now. And I do want to connect that industrial area with this segment of the road and the segment of the roundabout. So that's why I'm making this curved road and connecting it with everything else. I do want to make this roundabout slightly larger than the previous one. So for that, I think I'm going to need some more space. I might need to move this to a little bit farther like that. And that essentially gives me some more space. This is turning out to be a really weird shape, but it's just guidelines. We are eventually going to remove this, so that there's that. And now I'm going to clean this up a little bit into a more even shape as well. So we have this clear roundabout that looks pretty good. Now my idea here is to move the main road into a different segment than what we are currently using and convert the current road that we're using for entering the industrial area into an exclusive road that is used just by that area. I don't know if that made sense, but I'll explain that in more detail in just a bit. Alright, so just to backtrack a little bit, let me zoom out and let me show you both of these. So this is the same size as this, and I will eventually get rid of this. Which I might actually just convert into a regular intersection instead of a roundabout and have one-way roads entering into it, so we have a little less traffic in that part of the road, which will make it look like this. And we'll also need to add a connection from the upper industrial area, but we'll think about that later on. For now, let's turn our focus into the roundabout and everything I mentioned before which didn't make sense. So basically, right now we're using this road as our main avenue that will extend into the next tile, but instead of that, I want to use this road as the main avenue and essentially convert all of this that you see here into just an exclusive road that enters the industrial estate. And let me show you what that looks like right now. It's a very clean connection into the industrial land, and let's just upgrade some of these roads and it will look really beautiful. So one of the things, okay, before that, let's just upgrade these industrial roads as well, just so that we don't really forget that. And I think let's just remove these little roads in between and let's upgrade this road. And I think this connection might be a little bit too short considering there are two roads splitting out of it. But one of my ideas, okay, so this is where the other road comes into play. So we can probably have this as just an exit or from the industrial area. So that looks like this. It's a one-way road and that just gets the trucks out and this gets the trucks in. So I think that might work. We might have to test this and see what that looks like. But for now, we'll just keep it as is. Let me just clean up some of these things and see you guys in just a second. Alright guys, so I'm done with this. Let's just resume the simulation and see what this eventually turns out into. I think one of the things that we missed out into doing is check the junctions, which I'm going to do right now. Yeah, we don't need that light. Let's just make that into, maybe this stop. I think we'll need to apply some lane math here, but I'm going to leave it as is for now and see what that traffic eventually evolves into, and then later on, essentially revisit that. This might not be the most ideal because there are trucks exiting and entering at the same time. I think this might be ideal if it's just an entry point for both the areas. But for now, I think it is good. We will figure it out later on for sure. If nothing else works out, we'll remove that and then we'll figure out what we can do here, considering we just talked about the connections directly from the highway. I think that has a lot of potential, but not for now. We will revisit that later on when we buy that tile. I think for now, let's just see all these buildings. I think they're looking really good. Let's just see what we can do next. I think I've broken up a lot of these pathways, so I am going to reconstruct all of that. And yeah, we'll need to basically clean up the mess that we essentially made while doing all these shenanigans, isn't it? Anyway, so I have some more pathways which I'll make in just a moment. But before that, I do want to reconstruct that asset which I removed, which is this rock formation, or one of these rock formations. I think this is a pretty good spot for it. I can probably overlap some of these. I really hate the way these are bound by rectangles because it's not really that organic as I'd like it, but I think this is looking pretty good. We can probably add some more smaller assets, randomize them a little bit like that, and yeah, that might look a little bit more organic. Maybe let's just add some more smaller rocks like that, kind of like sprinkle them around, and it might add some more beauty to this area. I don't know why I lost that word, but anyway, this looks pretty good. So it's time to move on to other things in life. I think we have some abandoned buildings here, eh? Yeah, I think that education issue is not really sorting itself out. Let's probably just see what or how we are doing in terms of education. Maybe the budget is a problem. Let's see. So in terms of education, yeah, see, we are not really doing that. I mean, we are doing good in terms of university and high school. Maybe increase the budget a little bit like that. And elementary school is certainly a problem. So that is kind of rising up a little bit, which is good. I think that's fair for now. All right, then let's move on to other things in life. Let's just see what else is happening in this city. Oh, we have some traffic problems happening here. There's a lot of congestion, actually. This is much worse than I expected. All right, so to be able to fix this, I think we can probably force some of the trucks to move in certain roads, namely, let me just use this road to do this and do this as well. So that will force our trucks to move northwards, which is good, which will at least clear that section of the road. Yes, that's good. And now maybe we can also do that on this road, I guess. Yeah, this road is a good idea. So that will just help reduce some of the congestion. This road might also be a good idea for that. That will essentially force the trucks to come onto that road to exit the area, which might not be the most ideal for that junction, but we'll revisit that later for sure. I know we'll have a lot of problems here because this is not exactly planned, but we will plan that eventually. I kind of like this look of these two, by the way, just like random topic out of nowhere. Anyway, I am blabbering at this point, so I'll just continue to move on to the next topic. All right, so let's see what we have to do next. We do have some of these spaces. In terms of the demand, we have a lot of residential demand. And look at all these houses, or buildings rather. These are looking pretty good, and I'm pretty sure they'll look good once they get even taller. All right, so the next problem we have is obviously the main intersection that helps people get into the city. This is a roundabout, and it's not ideal. Like I mentioned earlier, roundabouts are really weird sometimes, and it can lead to some really weird problems. So for this, I'm going to try something. I'm going to keep the roundabout as is, but I'm going to add feeder roads or exits and entry points essentially into the intersection. What that would look like is basically if we take a highway, a one-way highway, or on and off ramp, and kind of connect these like so. And with this, I'm hoping the cars would have an easier way to go right. So there will be less pressure on the roundabout itself. Now, full disclosure, this is something I am fully aware of. This is not perfect. It will have its own problem, and I know exactly what problem we'll have, but I'm just going to try this nonetheless. So in City Skylines, Sims prefer highways over everything else, over any other kind of road. So as you can see, all these cars are taking these ramps, but instead of going right, they are actually going left as well. And they are actually taking that entire turn all around the road. And that's because we have that little stretch of the road, which is not a highway, which is basically this one. That's like a regular 6-lane road. So to be able to fix that, I can think of two different ways. One is if we convert that stretch of road into a 4-lane or a 6-lane highway that is a single road. And the problem with that is we don't really have any asset, at least in the vanilla game, that will help us provide that. We can make two different highways one which goes in and the other one that comes out, but we can't really use a 4-lane or a 6-lane highway like we are using this road. And that's the problem. We can use a custom asset in this case. We have some available, but I don't really want to do that for this specific situation. So we'll leave that out for now. So that brings us to the second solution, which is basically to convert half of that ramp into a regular road. And that will basically mean that the cars don't really see that as a faster option and they'll start using the roundabout once again. Now, this brings us to exactly where we started from. We have this roundabout which was congested and it is still congested, and there is no point really of using this on and off ramps. This shows how inefficient roundabouts can be in many situations, and in this specific situation, we'll definitely have to find a different way to solve this problem. So I'll keep this as is for now. I'll revert this back to our original design and just let them use this for now. But we'll definitely have to think about an alternative solution for this, at least in the next few videos, because this will get crazier as the time passes further. But yeah, with that, let's move on to other crazier things in life. Let's just review how our city is doing elsewhere. Alright, so we started out with the goal of becoming a bigger city. We wanted to get to 11,000. I don't think we'll be able to reach that goal in this episode. We still have like 8.5, which is not ideal. We have some of these new buildings which has not that many people. They are not, I mean, they are more than your usual single family homes, but they are not significantly. Oh, why do we have an electric line right in the middle of this? That's really funny. Anyway, let's remove this. We don't really need that. And yeah, we probably need more homes. Anyway, let's just quickly see how we are doing in terms of this park. Oh, we are losing money. We're losing some money, not significantly different, but I think we can probably fix that. We should be able to see, maybe let's just see how much we are spending on this. We are spending some money. We can probably try to turn this off and see if that makes any difference. I didn't really expect that this park would lose money. It's a pretty good park, eh? Anyway, let's just remove all of these. I think these guys need to calm down because there's a lot of abandoned buildings in this area. I mean, we'll surely have more people, but for now, I think we have this problem. And obviously, we have this intersection, which is an abomination of problems. We have a lot of things going wrong in here, but we'll surely fix that in the next episode. I think this is going to be it, especially for that intersection for this episode. And speaking of the next episode, I think we should probably think about what we can do next. I think we probably certainly buy a next piece of land, or a tile rather. And we do have a bunch of different options in terms of industrial explorations. We have some light green patches on the left there that we can use for farming. We have a black big patch on the right, which we can use for oil. And we have some forest pretty much everywhere actually, but significantly good area of forest up there in the north. Anyway, we'll talk about all of that in the next episode. I think this episode was pretty interesting. We did some really crazy stuff in this episode. So if you guys enjoyed it, please leave a like. If you really liked it, please subscribe and stay tuned for future episodes. And I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, a goodbye.